I'm jumping into it because I'm just ready to go into it.
Okay.
Okay. We mentioned a lot about the pony motor, and if you guys can remember what I taught about the pony motor, it's called finding out what you can do with God or as God without seeking, waiting, or getting permission, or finding scriptures and things like that to agree with or without um, your free vocation functions. You don't have to check in. It means the pony motor, meaning that you can crank up certain things about your position in your infinite identity, where you don't have to check in to the main office, get permission to do something, to learn something, or to get into what is called in the church a movement. A lot of us listen to people say there's a move of God, there's a move of God. When you wake up to your true essence, you are the moving of God. You are the next move. The next step you take is the next move of God in the pony motor explanation, definition. You find out in true definition what you can and cannot do without asking, seeking, finding, knocking, praying, affirming, positive confessions, and all that. What I'm saying to you is that you don't have to pay any extra for something that is already okayed through mastership. And once you understand this in your head, the healing presence of God automatically is kicked in. See, the healing power of God that people keep asking for, or we keep asking for on earth, in the eternal self is an illusion. The reason why I say that is because once you understand the package of your true identity, everything is covered, which means that the part of us that's constantly asking why, what, is out of place.
Yeah.
Because everything is in place if you go to the place where everything is in place.
Okay.
And there's no reason for us to adventure or venture into areas such as why can I, when can I, what can I, show me, can you tell me? You don't even have to really invoke angels to come on the scene because you are that angel and everything that takes place around you. Now, when it comes down to spiritual warfare, which people are so in tune with battling and fighting the elements, there is a place in you that is, it's a word that I wanted my wife to try to read. Can you read that word there?
Concentric?
Concentric. When I looked up the word concentric, it means one or two objects parallel or sharing the same space.
Okay.
I'm going to read it in concentric. Concentric. One or two objects parallel or sharing the same space. When you understand the pony motor, which is a small J, or a small motor in a construction machine that cranks up, heat up diesel fuel in order for the larger motor, which is the 16 cylinder, how many cylinders you have in a bulldozer, it is there to kick in the big motor. And in the book of Acts in the Bible, it said on the day of Pentecost, it said, they spake as the Spirit of God gave utterance, meaning this, they had to kick it in. When the man was healed at the gate of Beautiful, who was born crippled, Peter and John said in there, they taken the man by the hand and lifted him up, meaning they initiated it. And from their initiation, they found out they had been taught how to do all the initiations in any particular area that needed to be activated.
Okay.
The pony motor is the motor. The small motor is like your generator or your alternator in your car. You have to take the key, a little tiny key, or a button, and one or your remote control, whatever you want to use or call it. It is still in the class of a pony motor. Once you touch that, it kicks in a smaller motor that starts the big motor. It's called a starter. A starter is also initiated when you're cooking, making a dough to make yeast bread. You keep that starter all the time so that you can have something to mix in to make the big substance of the bread to bake or to let it set overnight to rise. I'm just picking these up in pieces, okay? But I'm telling you, a lot of us are trying to get God to move first when there's no such thing as God moving first, when he is in and is all movings. What is not moving is you, is us. So now, finding out this information, you have to also understand the package deal is coming in that word called concentric. Concentric. One or more objects parallel, in the parallel areas they are standing. Like in your shoes tonight, the size shoe that Jesus wear is your shoe size. His shoe size may be a 7, 8, 9, or however big your shoe is, his shoe will either expand or get smaller for your physical manifestation of God. The reason why Jesus physically was raised from the dead was so that our physical bodies could reap the benefits of physical blessings. The reason why Jesus physically went to the cross and physically initiated us into it is for the physical side of us to be submissive or broke down to where it can experience in the finite area the physical manifestation of God, which means the body, even though it is programmed with all kinds of cells and things that may pick up the coronavirus and anything, it is still waiting for the volition of us to step in, do our part by grace. And when you do your part by grace, it is sanctioned that it is pure. Pure physical movement is sanctioned because it has been set up. The setup is we are co-participators. I almost said co-pissers, but co-participators, co-participators, co-iced potatoes, cream potatoes, mashed potatoes, do the dance called the mashed potatoes. We are initiators. When you go out to a club to dance, you don't get out on the floor and the music is playing and you just stand there and wait for the music to move your legs. No, you get out there and you start it up. When you start it up, it is there. But there may be a feeling that when a song come on, you are ready to hit the step. In the olden days, when I was raised up back in that day, they told me that the older people before me, that they used to cut a step and do music out on the front porch, and you couldn't eat unless you cut a step, tap dance. That's the way it is with this. A lot of people go back in the book of Acts and read about how they waited and tarried on that day for the Spirit of God to come. But after you understand this, they had to activate something in order for the dynamo to kick in. All right. Two or more, what do you call that word right there?
Synonyms?
Synonyms. Synonyms. Two or more synonyms, meaning the same. Synonyms are same. I don't care. Listen to this. I want you to stay with me now, because I'm on something. I am on something. Listen, we are already endowed with limitless potential. We are the unlimited potential.
Yes, we are.
Our spirit self is the endowed self with limitless potential.
Limitless, yeah.
Yeah. Higher awareness, higher, I heard Bill Free say this about high awareness and local awareness. And when I heard him say this, I caught on to something. We are already endowed because awareness in the higher consciousness is never turned off.
True, true.
I want to say this again because we've been taught we got to get there, we got to get more, we got to hit this, we got to get that. If you're not hitting it, it's because you don't know what's already on.
And the misconception is that I'm not there yet because things aren't different. I don't feel different. Nothing's responding to me differently, so I'm not there yet.
I heard Miss Lisa talking today on her site about healing, and the healing potential is localized in your awareness. Well, not in awareness, is localized in your beingness. Beingness is the alreadiness of God in who you are and what you're made out of. If Adam in the Garden of Eden was formed from the dust of the ground and the breath of life was God breathing into him, the life that is flowing through us, called in oxygen, inhale and exhale, is the eternal essence of God, that when we leave our body, we carry that essence with us, or the reason why we carry it with us is because it is us. You are not, even though your body may feel terrible, it may need surgery, it may be cancer, it is not a shack.
Okay.
It may feel like one mentally or psychological, but it is not a shack if we in it is not shacky material. Us not being shacky material, but the top A grade Shianical, being the top grade higher self, automatically makes the shack become a castle.
Top A grade Shianical. That's my stepfather's slang. He used to say that for something that was top grade. He called it
A grade.
A1 Shianical.
Yeah, I mean, it is the Shekinah glory. The Shekinah glory of God does not come on us and leave us like it did in the Old Testament. It stays on us.
So can I jump in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we call it different things. We call it the higher self, the permanent self, the true self, the pure self, the authentic self. What I got written down, the essence of God. We call it the God self. You can give it a whole lot of titles and labels, but it is in actuality who and what you are, without anything having to be different, without anything having to change. The problem is that we believe that we're the limitations that come along with it. The limitations, however, are housed in the apparatus that we're in, that we have to animate and navigate through this physical existence. That is where our limitations are. It is not in us as essence. Essence has no limitations. And it's always authentic. It is always pure. It is always true. You are always that. However, we look at our limit. We look at the limit. I don't want to say our, because when I say our, I'm possessing it. But it is a part of the apparatus. When I say apparatus, I mean the physicality that you live here in this physical world with, that is here to help you touch this phenomenal world. If you didn't have this body, you wouldn't be able to touch this phenomenal world. So it's given to us, but it has its limitations. And because it has its limitations, you as the authentic self are here to master it. You are here to master the apparatus that is limited and to fulfill your potential.
And what we are saying is we are speaking from our infinite higher self. And the key to walking this thing is understanding that there is no walk, because everything is already set in this, what they call, concentric state. And everything that is set in a concentric state, meaning that everything is in the same place at the same moment, even though we come into a dream world, let me tell you something. Even though this world might be a fantasy or a story, we are not.
Right.
We are not. And the we that we're saying that I'm saying that is not the story is our eternal self. This eternal self, as I said before, it does not come and go. It does not shut down because cancer. It does not shut down because there's something wrong. It does not. Let me say this. I want you to hear this. It does not shut down because of warfare. It does not shut down. You know, I'm beginning to find out that there are some people in the church who believe that the dark world of Satan has preeminence in us and in this world of the story to the degree that if we don't battle him, God cannot win the war unless we do something. The war is already won because of God's existence.
There is no war.
Now, thank you.
There
now,
is no war.
Here's what I'm finding out. If the dark world, and when we back in the day in separation, the strongest sense of separation is demon deliverance. We went through a lot of people casting out devils, casting out, excuse my word if I say it, we're going to cast all the bitches out of the bitches and the dogs out of the dogs. And here we are going to cast out gluttony. We're going to cast out evil, rejection, fear, and displaced identities. And I said, well, if we can cast out, and the Bible said Jesus cast out devils, then that means automatically that can cast out the other is overpowering the one that is holding the position. Now, I'm saying these things to you ABC because it is in my urgency with intenseness that you guys understand that you are before any literature. You existed before the Bible. Mm-hmm. God existed before the book. And we came from him in our eternal self, and we are in the same class as he is. Mm-hmm. He is, we are.
Yeah. Can I slow you down for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nancy has a good comment. She said, there is only one presence and power.
That's right.
And I want to go back to something you said a moment ago. There is no war, but there are challenges. Those challenges, though, are presented to us as the authentic self to master so that we can fulfill our potential. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're there for us to overcome and transcend. Mm-hmm. That's why they're there, and they're not there to stop us. None of the things that we feel in our inner selves, and one of the things I've realized too is this: we have an inner sight. Our inner sight is mm-hmm. dualistic. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, our inner sight mm-hmm. is dualistic. In other words, we have this tendency to think, well, God is in me, but I'm still me, and God mm-hmm. is still he, mm-hmm. so it's still two. Mm-hmm. So our inner sight is even dualistic. So that mm-hmm. has to be transcended as well. And that's right. And we don't have to move anything out of the way for this potentiality to be manifested either. Right. And then the permanent identity will shine and manifest itself when it masters all of the hidden inner secrets and cubbies and all of the little nuances of this person that's here, that's been formed by all of life experiences. That little person that's been formed by all those life experiences is still coming up. That person, or I should say those conditionings mm-hmm. that took place because of those life experiences are still filtering through us as that mm-hmm, that mm-hmm. unlimited self. Mm-hmm. And then we start to believe that we're that mm-hmm, mm-hmm. instead of realizing and remembering and reminding ourselves of what we truly are.
When you get over into the full implementation awareness of your divine self, Nancy, what you're saying of presence and one power, you are not saying that because you're just using words. You're saying that because it is a fact. It is a fact that is beyond explanation. It is a settlement. It is a settlement down through the solarplex area of awareness in its highest state. That this is a fact. That you are the presence, and the power that we have reference to is like a policeman standing out in the road and directing traffic. His potential is not to stop the car with his hand that's doing 50 miles an hour. It is his authority of position that does the stopping of the traffic. You violate the traffic.
He has to stand in who he is.
Stand in who
at
he
that
is.
moment.
And he has the potential of the okay in his pony motor.
And he doesn't take into consideration his limitations
That's
of
right.
not having the strength
That's
to
right.
stop that vehicle. But he stands in what he knows he is as an authentic.
That authentic.
That's
It's
where
authentic
authority
self.
comes from.
That's right.
Authority comes from being authentic.
And imparted unto him, made into his fabric. Now, here I am in school at the sixth grade. For the first time, I had a chance to be what they call a patrol boy. I get a chance to wear the raincoat, the yellow hat, and the boots. And I had a sign or a patrol belt that would wrap around me.
Well, you thought you was cute.
Oh yeah, I was in high cotton, girl. And when we come down, I get a chance to leave the school and go down to the main streets on Cherry Street in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I could actually stand out in the street with my hand up with that yellow suit on and stop cars. I was given that authority, and all my teachers said, "Sawyer, do you want to be a patrol officer?" I said, "Yes." But one thing I hadn't mastered in there is how to fold that flag and put it up on the flagpole. I had to be taught how to do that. But I did it for the last year in elementary school in the 6th grade. But my authority was imparted unto me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, whether you know the Bible or read the course or read a funny book or a newspaper, finding out what we're telling you has already been presented to you. Now that you are finding out and have found out your position, in essence, you are fully equipped to do the power work or the moving work of God in life. But listen to this. You cannot keep going back and forth. Okay, here it is, back and forth to what is called local awareness, high awareness, down to local awareness.
Well, I always said it like this, and you guys, some of you probably remember me saying it, but we spiral into emergency emotions. Emergency emotions. So we should not, I won't say should. It doesn't benefit us to measure our growth or our spiritual advancement by how we're thinking at the moment, or how we're feeling at the moment, or how anything is happening at the moment. None of that should be the measuring stick.
That's right.
That should not be the measuring stick. It is when you move over into knowing. Nothing changes that knowing. Nothing. And so I'm not sure. I want to be able to tell somebody, how do you get to knowing? But I know it comes from an absolute seeing of that you are.
Part of it is these classes.
Yeah,
but I'm not going.
Like
I'm not going to sanction on just these classes alone.
Right.
Because there is such a thing as pertinent truth. There is such a thing as truth of beingness. There's such a thing as an epiphany. There's such a thing as an aha moment.
Yeah, and I do know that some of us have taken the path of going inward, discovering more about ourselves, discovering more about God. But some people have also taken the opposite path, which is when they decide, I'm going to master everything that's limiting me. I'm going to overcome it. And they become the great motivational speakers and people like that who are able, and great coaches who can pull other people out of it because they are mastering the apparatus that is limited that they're in.
You can be born again, filled with the Spirit, anointed of God, greatly gifted of God, greatly used of God, move with God, do all the mighty feats of God, able to leap from tall buildings with a single bound, more powerful than a locomotive. And yes, look up in the sky. It's super you. You can be all of that kind of stuff and still be living in local awareness.
Sure.
And local awareness is fighting, fussing, disagreeing. Here's another one. Anxiety is local awareness operation. Fear, miserable. Now listen, what I want you to do, everybody wants to, here's what's going to come up. But how do I get rid of this? You don't. You leave it. How do you leave it? You find out what we're talking about and put your attention, awareness, attention in that place. Okay? Now, you are now synonymous with God and have always been. The world system that says in the church, I was born in sin and shaped in iniquity from my mother's womb. Let me show you something here. In Jeremiah 1:5, he never told Jeremiah that he was born in sin and shaped in iniquity from his mother's womb. He said, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto nations. Now,
all that was from the Jump Street.
That was what?
That's from Jump Street.
What? What?
That's right, from Jump Street.
Excuse my Latin, German, whatever you want to call it. You are no longer recovering bitches.
Oh, please. You said that before.
I know. I'm saying that in a drastic way because I want to get your full attention in this word that I'm saying to you. It is over. The lower class thinking is over. Even though your mind go there, your feelings go there, your shirt is dirty, your shoes don't fit right, you're walking crooked, you're walking with a gimp or a limp, you are still in a concentric state, all of God. You are the stuff that is localized everywhere in the universe. I'm talking big boss man.
Excuse me.
You are the same pronunciation, translation, and quality of God. All that God is what all of us are, and we are the same in every place at one moment. Hallelujah. It is us that is spread out over the universe. We are spread out over the universe. See, the reason why I'm talking this stuff because I'm putting you into the position of leaving your body or staying in your body. Nothing is decreased. Nothing is minimized down to a small state. See what I'm talking about? This is not small cookies. This is not small stuff. This is big boss man. Hey, big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? This is the stuff that causes the gods of the universe to come in harmony with each other. And it is the kind of stuff that stops gods from trying to kill each other. God killing is what is taking place in D.C., in the Pentagon, and the Capitol. These gods are in the lower frequency state. We as being, what is this that gives us the notion that we are not in a God class? Here we are carrying people around inside of us. Babies are being born. We have the power to kill physical bodies in a dream world and kill people, and they still come out of their body and still is life. This is God quality. Babies have grown up to give birth to people in them. Dogs give birth to puppies. Squirrels give birth to animals, give birth. Trees produce after they kind. This is God kind of quality. This is not chips. This is not popcorn. This is the real stuff that we are the function of and made out of. I'm gonna keep saying these kind of things to you because I don't know. I used to think that every time I get ready to talk to somebody, I had to go in the Bible, find something new to get to. There's nothing new under the sun about us. We have always been the same omnipotence, omnipresent. Mm-hmm. All that God is what we are, and that we are the same. God in us as us, we in him as him, we are sharing.
Would you say that we now have the task of learning how to overcome the limitations of the apparatus that we live in?
God in our form gave himself the task to find himself in these human forms.
And evidently God wanted to know what it felt like to be limited.
That's the reason why whenever these people in D.C. and the Pentagon and all of this stuff do things to others, God is going to wake up inside of these people, wake them up and show them. And ain't no use. Everybody want to pray and pray and pray and ask that a recent position identity in the White House get back into another position. Pray if you want to or don't. Jesus Christ is Lord, and that's all it is to it. Ain't no use of you trying to break down the Pentagon, break down the Capitol, tear out the windows. Ain't no use you trying to make somebody be in position that you feel like you're supposed to be in position. Take a deep breath, church. Take a deep breath, universe. You can't lose for the kind of stuff you use in God. If you walk in peace and walk in love, everything is sanctioned in your eternal self to fall in place. No, here comes enmity. Enmity. I'm going to fight. I'm going to militantly take back the country. You can't take back what is already has not been taken. All you have to do is sit back, rear back, and lean back. I'm saying these things because I want you guys to listen to this. Take your teeth out, put them in a cup, and tighten up your bra strap because this stuff that we're talking about is hard as waffle pancakes. And it is exactly down the middle of the road. You don't have to try to make the water flow a certain way. You don't have to try to make God do something for you. You don't have to get in the water. All you do is sink back into your true essence. And you will find. But who will pay that price? Who will take that step? You will take it because you're finding out that the truth of God is easy when you wake up to your true identity. That's all. I rest my case. There's nothing more to be said. God as us, we are sharing the same place. We are the God of definition. The true definition of God is the highest state that we are now. We are the same quality, equal, and same. The scripture said, he thought it not robbery to be equal with God. Mm-hmm. Now that's it.
We make statements like finding your true self, go to your true self. Mm-hmm. And when we say that, it sounds like we're putting another condition on you. Because
yeah, it sounds like, and we don't want to overburden you with this.
No, we don't want to overburden you with it. I've got a cough drop in my mouth, so if I sound funny, that's why. But I'm realizing that to live spontaneously every day is to realize when I wake up in the morning, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what's happening, no matter how I'm thinking, no matter what's going on, that I am still the authentic self. I am still that God self because my essence will never change. I'll give you an example, and I've given it before. In India, they have a tradition. If they have jewelry, they will keep it for years. And then at some point, what they will do is they will melt it down and create another type of jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
But the essence of it is still there. If it's gold, if they melt it down and shape it another way, it's still gold.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
This is the same thing that's what I'm saying about us. No matter what has happened or is happening, we have never, our essence never changes. So getting used to living with the limitations without fighting them, without resenting the weaknesses that you see, or the frailty that you see, or the crazy little quirks that you have,
Mm-hmm.
that were created out of your life experiences. That's the thing. They were all created out of your life experiences, what you experienced in your growing up, in your being born into this earth. That's going to remain. That's not going to go anywhere. But you do need to know more about it. You need to really know how your ego and how your mind works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once you know how the magician does the trick,
There you go.
they can't trick you anymore.
That's right.
The illusion is gone once you know how the trick is done.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what I'm saying. Know yourself. When you know yourself, when you know the self that I'm talking about, that egoic self, that mental self, that emotional self, when you're familiar with what has caused it to think the way it is, what has caused it to believe the way it does, what has caused it to feel the way it does, then you know what's causing it to be what it is. And then you realize that is not who you are. That is how the limitations are coming in and conditioning and changing everything you see. It is causing you to look through that. When you look through that, then you see that you get a distorted image. When you look through your life experiences, you get a distorted image, and your judgment is completely off. And that's why he said not to judge. That's why it's not good to judge. Not because you can't judge, but because when you do, it's distorted.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus called it a righteous judgment. He had a righteous judgment. We don't have righteous judgment because it's too infiltrated or ingrained with our life experiences.
Jesus said, I and the Father are one. When he said that, he was giving us the definition of the concentric word. CONCENTRIC. He that has seen me has seen the Father. Now, when I look at you, who do you think I see? Oh, you think I'm looking at your mama's boy, your daddy's boy. I'm looking at a man or a woman or a girl or a child.
Am I looking at a memory I have
A
of
memory
you
of an image.
and judging you because of that memory?
Now, Tamara, you said something. Jesus Christ is Lord. What if I was to say, you are the Lord? Or if I break it down, you are a Lord.
And that's true because we've said it in church a million times. He is the Lord of what? Lords.
Yeah.
So he is the
Lord of other lords.
We are lords.
Lords over other lords. Lords of other lords. We are little lord, big lord, whatever we want
And
for.
what are we lords of? This entire physical existence.
There you go. There you go. Got it? It should be clear now.
So this thing we have of, I'm going to run to God every time something goes wrong.
You don't run. You can't run
God's
to
going
it.
to fix it. God has to fix it. Or I'm going to believe that the devil has gotten some upper hand on me and that God needs to come to the rescue. There is nothing presented to you that is not supposed to be presented to you. It's supposed to be presented to you to bring you to a higher understanding, to cause the scales to fall off of your eyes, to cause you to be able to transcend and become more fully your potential.
When I stood on the stage at 14, 15, and 16 in a weightlifting competition, I was given a certain pill that brought my adrenaline to a place where when I stood out there,
Your trainer gave you a pill.
yeah, he gave me some type of pill. I didn't know what it was. A steroid.
Probably,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was. And I stood behind stage and I was warming up. I was already warmed in my state. I went out there in front of those people, and at 148 pounds, I broke a state record in a lift of lifting twice my body weight. I held on to it for years. I gave it up one time to the guy that I won over. Then I came back and got it again. But when I let that go to him the last time, I was ready to give it up. I was ready to let it go. Now listen, that state that I was in was already in me. All I had to do was activate it by choice. It was on. All I had to do is get on with it. We and God are called masters within and masters without. The key word of master is Mr. The key things of God are operate through mastership, and the mastership operates in an eternal knowing. That eternal knowing does not stop working through us just because we've conscious or whatever you want to call it, just because we don't know it, just because we don't find out. It does not move. The infinite knowing does not stop its function just because we're not aware of the information.
True.
Hallelujah. I feel like I want to jump up again and cut one, because this is the key that you've been talking and asking people about and praying for.
Judy asked a question, and this is a very serious question. She says, help me understand how this applies to horrific circumstances that have happened to children. I can't say, Judy, that I have the answer completely to that. However, I do believe, and I won't go beyond belief, I do know that before we come into these physical bodies, we collaborate with one another as souls. We determine who's going to play what role for the benefit of others. And sometimes the role is something very horrific. But that horrible thing that happens many times is what catapults other people into their own potentials. It catapults them into becoming advocates. And so while it is a very horrific thing that's being done, something that's very catastrophic, it's not something that we can say this is good, but it does bring about good. So I think that we pre-plan how we're going to carry our roles on this earth. Now some people may shoot that down and say that's not the way it is, but that is how I'm seeing it at this point. That's the only way I've reconciled it at this point.
Miss Judy, you said one word in your question statement. Help me to understand. The word understand. Mm-hmm. Now let me share this with you, baby. If I was to read your statement, I would say, please help how this applies. The key word, it has already been applied. Okay, let me break it down to you again. Mm-hmm. I found out in awareness, in higher awareness, that's the only way that's going to be revealed to you. You're going to have to put your attention on the highest state. Mm-hmm. And the highest state is this. In the East, they talk about the third eye. Third eye is the ability to look from all directions, to see all up, down, around you, but 190, whatever degrees you call it. 360 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's seeing all around.
All around, everything. Now, here's the key to it. Here's the clue. Infinite as you are, you have always been that.
And always will be.
Cannot stop it. I'm sorry, honey. You're just too late to try to stop it. Mm-hmm. Here it is. I'm breaking it down to you, honey. I had to go there because raised in a shotgun moonshine house. I know there were some people that are worse.
Had worse
things.
But that was bad for you.
But for my level of coming to this dimension, projected here, I chose that. I chose that, and you did too, because in the best of evolution, on your God identity sign, you drew up the contract. I'm going to say it like that, so that you could come here to grow up with all of these children that are hurt. I look at them on television, Miss Judy, and I look at them out there dancing in Africa in the dirt and the mud. They're living in mud huts.
And they're impoverished.
And they seem to be happy.
Happier than those of us who have luxuries.
Listen, honey, please hear me. And I know you do with your heart. Leave the question and the statement. Take a look at yourself and see the truth behind your answer. This thing that you were at birth. Ooh, glory be to God. Set it up for every damnable, destructive, from the president down, from the rooter to the tutor. You set it up. It wasn't, when you come here, you think, if I known I was going to be in this, I never would have. Or I hear somebody, that was a lady in our church. Her husband was doing good, money was coming in, and she was living on the high cotton. Couldn't hit her in the butt with a red apple. But all of a sudden he got sick. Couldn't see, couldn't supply for her, and the next thing she said in wanting to get divorced from him, I didn't sign up for this. I'm sorry. You cannot check out of this thing just because in this dimension it seems like you made the wrong mistake. There is no mistakes in your coming here because of what I'm scared. Miss Judy, I'm shaking in my shoes now when I say this because there's a part of me that says, oh God, I done said the wrong thing. I got to find out how to stop the devil in it. I could give the most damn about the devil when it come down to me saying what I'm saying to you. I could care less. He could go out there in the woods and find him a 50-foot water hole with 50 golf balls and suck every last one of them through it. Or he can go out there in the woods and find a pig with a square butt and kiss him in it. This thing that I'm telling you now is an infinite thing from the beginning of the conception, before Jeremiah 1:5, before formed in the womb. You knew this and you agreed to it, and these children agreed to it. Now you're coming around to your awakening consciousness because now your God identity has stepped in this thing, in this world. It has stepped, my God Almighty, it has stepped into this thing right down from the rooter to the tutor. It has stepped into your womb. It stepped there and will not take another step outside of infinity, eternity, and it stepped into every impasse, every speed bump. And now you are in a place to see the truth of why you're here. And use everything that you stepped into, to become the glory of God. Yes. Hallelujah. Yes. Woo, God Almighty.
Then there's the other theory that I don't have any proof of, and that is that if there is any validity to reincarnation,
oh, glory be to God,
that one may have had in a previous incarnation some karmic debt that may have been acquired.
Let me say this right quick, baby. Please excuse me.
Okay.
When you see what we're saying, it is easy to forgive. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing it with your infinite forgiveness.
Well, and I think, too, in the Course, it mentions that there is nothing that has actually happened.
That's right.
So what we have done in this illusory world that we live in, glory. We tend to think of it as something that is tragic. However, it is our own doing. And once again, I wanted to mention that it is possible that maybe they had some karmic debt from a previous incarnation. That's one theory. We really don't have an absolute answer. And I don't think there is a pat answer for this. But I do know that it is something that we all have to accept. Go ahead.
You told the last high blood pressure reading before you came to earth that you were going to check the blood pressure when you got here and it was going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
You also told the doctors that you collaborated with that they are going to give you something for it. Glory be to God. You said that at a certain place in your childhood, certain things was going to take place in your family. My God Almighty. And you said that at a certain time, you're going to go to the driver's license place at 16 and you're going to get your license and somebody's going to provide you with a car to drive. You said that at a certain time, I'm going through small little bit of things, but I mean every minute detail. Your soul set the pace. And said at certain times I would be going to the window and looking out and I would see it snowing, raining, and thundering at the same time. You said within your voiceless voice, your wordless word self, that at certain times you were going to go to the store and buy something. You said the whole sketch of this play. You pronounced it on yourself that you were going to be in these tight precipice moments and overcome every last one of it by waking up to your true identity.
Yeah. In the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus,
Lord have mercy,
when Jesus was heavily interceding, when Jesus was heavily interceding, he did that as sweats of drops of blood, it said. That's how intense it was. Because he began to see the depth of his contract.
Yeah. That's it.
He began to see the depth of his contract.
That's it.
And he did not want to fulfill it. But in the end, he did submit to it.
He would not let anything distract him from being this.
Exactly.
He would not let anything distract him from the business. You are an incorporated entrepreneur of the God business.
And he often would say, for this cause came I into this world. So there are causes that we've come into this world for.
Yes.
And we don't realize the depth of our contracts.
Yes. What's his name?
Diaquilin.
Diaquilin.
That's a young lady. To forgive is divine. It
I can't see you.
It takes our true nature to forgive because it sees all as pure essence.
Diaquilin, listen, sweetheart. You hit the nugget right there. To forgive is divine. Meaning this, you are, whether you feel like it's said with words, your essence will not hold anything of an art. Because it is your, beyond true nature, it is your real self. Forgiveness. If I wanted to, I could say your name is forgiveness. Because it is all the pureness
your nature
of forgiveness.
Is, yes. It is your true nature.
That's it. So now, if your mind don't agree with it, if the people don't agree with it, and they say, you hear people say, I don't know how I'm going to forgive them for that. I don't know how I'm going to let that go. That's your switch. Hit it. Knock the hell out of that switch. Hit it hard, because you just come up against an impasse that says, ain't no way I can forgive this. They did me wrong like this before. Go to your eternal forgiveness self and you will see that don't even exist. Don't try it. You don't have to pull your gun out now and wonder if it's going to shoot.
That's right.
It stays loaded.
That's right.
It stays. I went to a gun shop here, and I got a pellet, 44 Magnum pellet gun. And now in the pellet gun, it's got air chambers where you put little air capsules in with the pellet. And I forgot that in order to get the pellets and the air chamber for that pellet gun, I go to Walmart. I went to a professional gun store.
Went to a gun store.
And the guy said, "No, we don't sell them. We don't have. We got the real."
He probably laughed at you.
He did. He said, "We got the real thing."
Going to a gun store to get pellets.
Yeah. But I had to be willing to go on a lower vibrational frequency to find out what was in the higher state.
Yeah.
You cannot forgive anything in your lower
Yeah.
state.
The mind. Well, let's say it like this: the mind can't forgive.
It can't. It won't.
It can't
Mm-mm.
forgive,
Nope,
and
nope.
then the subconscious mind doesn't try to forgive. It just holds the data. So the data
Mhm.
is going to
Mhm.
remain, and at some point, the data won't be as important or have as much of an impact or sting.
That's right.
And so, and then there is the fact that we created our own obstacle course before we got here.
Mhm. Now, I want you guys, our time is up. It's 8 o'clock on the dot. I wish we had more time to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I know Miss Lisa is on her program tonight. I wish I could tune into her,
No,
but
she's not on it.
she's not on it?
Mm-mm. It was the other lady.
Oh, the other lady.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
well,
were doing
I mistake that.
They were going to go over a review
Excuse me.
the
Mhm.
little movie called Soul.
Oh, yeah,
And
so.
they loved it so much till they wanted to go back and discuss it. So if you haven't seen that movie, Soul,
I wish I could get
it
on
would
there
be
with them.
good. It's
That's
an
good.
animated movie, but it is great. It is
Mhm.
great. It talks about everything that we've discussed here and more.
And I know you guys are waiting on your stimulus package, and if you have, bless your heart, we haven't heard anything about it from us on our side. But I want you guys to remember, Miss Jill has put up the information about where to give and how to give. But I want you guys to remember us in the pot. They call it in the pot. When you're cooking a brew, I want you to remember that we need your financial assistance in order to keep this.
What?
This function in our home going. And we thank you so much for being a part of us and for being open-minded enough to participate with us in our class. We'll be back with you again on Sunday morning
Yes, Alive and in Color at 10.
at 10, okay?
At 10.
And if you got more questions, write them down and present them to us, and it would cause us to have more insight and more fun with each other.
Yeah. Thank you, Judy, for that great question.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And all you guys out there, God bless you, and we're praying with you. I know Mr. Joe has had some problem in his family. His wife is in the hospital.
Yes. Keep
And
him in mind.
Mr. Joe,
Keep him in
wife
prayer.
is in stage 4 cancer from what he said to me. But
Yes.
I'm believing God to bring things together for them.
Also, last week, was it last week or week before,
Mm-hmm.
Christina Corney lost her brother. So if you guys, Cornerstone, reach out to her if you haven't already.
Right.
Thank you for Sister Chris has put up also for those of you who are new to us, to following us on Facebook here. There is a contact form that she has posted here for a link that you can go to and leave us your email so that you can be on our contact list if you choose to do that. And that'll be great if you would do that. So whenever we do plan an event, that you guys would be available for it.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's it, is it?
I believe that's it.
That's it. We will see you guys on Sunday morning,
Okay.
10 o'clock. Love
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.